Our meeting to order. It's being held by Google Meet in accordance to Mass General Law, and December 17th of the awesome year 2020. Are there any citizens' comments that anyone has? No? Our first new business is the hybrid model. Would you like to lead us through that, John?
Sure. Yep. So in our original plans that we presented to the school committee, our hybrid model had students coming in cohorts, and we split those up into cohort A and cohort B. Special populations was in every day, and they are in every day. But when we reassess the situation, now that we know that most likely we'll be transitioning to a hybrid model on October 8th, if everything, the cases remain low and we meet our protocols to do that. We had the administration had talked, and in conjunction with the union presidents, Renee, Claire, and then Kim Godfrey, about trying to see if we could get our students in for another day every other week. So we want to bring our students in on the Fridays for a half day. All Fridays are half days, and they would be in the cohorts. So for example, one week it might be cohort A in on Monday, Wednesday, and a half a day Friday. And the following week, cohort B would be in Tuesday, Thursday, and a half a day Friday. So we want the students in as much as possible in front of teachers. I know the teachers want that as well. So we think this is a really good thing. Families, hopefully will be very receptive to it. They have been so far, because we did send out a survey with that information on it last week. We have extended the survey deadline to tomorrow at 5. We still have a few more that need to come in. And so that being said, we think this is a good thing. The union supports it. And I think families do as well. So that's basically, it's adding another half day on Fridays. Abby brought up a good point. She emailed me that a few of the Mondays are holidays. So I think after Columbus Day, I believe there are 3 Mondays and then maybe 1 Wednesday before the New Year break. And we can try to schedule, maybe if cohort A is going to miss school on those Mondays, maybe we can make it up as we schedule further into the year and add extra time on one of those Fridays to kind of equal it out a little bit, if that makes sense. So instead of all cohort A missing all the Monday holidays, we could try to add another Friday half day to their schedule, so it kind of evens out with the cohort B. But we could do that, because I don't think the first one after Columbus Day is until, I think it's either right before the holiday break on that Wednesday or in January. So we have a little time to do that to make sure that does equal out. Pat, I think David's got his hand up.
Okay, David, I didn't see your hands.
John, was consideration given to, instead of bringing students in on Friday, lengthening the days? And I just don't like running the buses on Fridays for half a day as much as I would. So, maybe we could use the bus savings to further compensate teachers for more hours. Clearly we want more contact time. I realize that, but I applaud the effort to get it by using those half days. Was any thought given to?
Well, I think part of the reason about not extending the days is we also have to clean all the rooms and use those UV sanitization machines with the custodians, and we're even asking staff to be out of the buildings by a certain time to be able to allow us time to do that, and that wouldn't be possible really if we had students stay longer. As far as the transportation piece, I could let Tanya, if she's on, talk about that, if there would be any cost savings to not running the buses on Friday, what that would be.
Well, if you have a whole day, you wouldn't need to do sanitation called Friday, because the kids wouldn't be in the building, and you half a day sounds like 4 hours to me.
Staff would
so
still
spread them around.
We'd still have to because staff in central office and people are still in the buildings on Fridays.
All right, I said my piece, and I guess I don't generally support the school committee veering on you at our meetings. So I'm done.
And I was gonna say, I was just going to touch base on the transportation too. We've had multiple talks with the bus company, and because of the way that they're contracted and so forth, we wouldn't really get any savings from not having that fifth day, because the bus company is going to have to employ the drivers 5 days a week, whether they're driving 5 days a week or not, in order to secure those CDL drivers. And like John said, the cleaning in the afternoons, there's only minimal time to be able to do that. So we need to make sure that that can be done in the time that we do have. And I do think that extra hour would possibly cut into that. I don't know if Kevin Seaman wants to talk about that or not.
Kevin, do you have anything you want to add?
The more time we can get the custodians in the classrooms, the better, in my opinion. So my feeling is that, yeah, exactly what Tanya said, an extra hour, even if it's only once a week, makes a difference.
Abby and then Jim.
I just want to respond. Special populations will be in the building on Fridays anyway. So the sanitizing will all have to happen, and we have to transport those students as well. So even if we didn't do it for the kids who are in the hybrid model, we still will have those costs.
Jim,
I didn't have my hand up.
I thought you did.
No, I do now, but not. I don't have anything to say.
Okay, great. Does anyone else have anything? Okay. John, is this something we have to vote on, or is this just informational?
Yes, no, I'd like you to vote because it was a change from our original hybrid, adding the extra half day for students on
Okay,
Fridays, if that's okay.
of course it's okay. Is there any more discussion on this? If not,
I would make a motion to add the half day. I don't even know how to put that, I guess. The new proposed half day Friday scheduled as John presented it.
I'll second that. This is Kristen.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. I will go through committee members to see how you vote. Jim, you are up first.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Abby?
Abby, yes.
Karen?
Karen, yes.
And Jeannie?
Jeannie, yes.
And Kristen?
Kristen, yes.
Is there any other committee members on that I can't see?
Yeah, Pat, it's Seth, and Seth,
Okay.
yes.
All right, and Pat, yes, that motion passes. Okay, our next agenda item is the face mask policy. That was something that Seth asked to have us clarify that. John, can you tell
Yeah,
us what
sure.
you found out?
Yep. So Seth emailed in about the what they're called the gaiters. They're kind of a thin nylon, I believe, that a lot of athletes use and pull up over their face, as well as I think bandanas was another one. And Carla's on, and we'd like to add to our policy. We don't feel those are safe. We didn't have the information on the gaiters, Seth, and the committee at the time when we were putting the face mask policy on, but we have that information now. So I'm glad Seth brought it up. And so we'd like to not have those be substitutes for the masks that loop around the ears. And so I can let Carla speak a little bit more about that. And I think there were the two other points that were originally on the face mask policy Carla just wanted to also just speak about. So if Carla's on, I'll let her turn it over to her.
Okay.
Yep, I'm on, and Ruth Potee is on here also. So as far as the bandanas and gaiters, yes, we definitely wanted to add that to the face mask policy, that they're not permitted. The science is definitely out on that they just really aren't effective. And I think that's pretty straightforward. We just wanted to add that to the policy. So hopefully everyone's on board with that. Ruth, did you want to add anything about bandanas or gaiters? Nope.
Sounds like she's good.
She's working at the jail tonight, so. Okay, so if everyone's on board with that, I can make up some language to add that in, into probably the second paragraph. I don't know if anyone has that in front of them. I can present it if you know.
I have it.
I have it.
Okay. So it would probably fit right into that second.
I have it.
All face coverings must comply with the dress code provisions of the student handbook, and then just add a sentence that says bandanas and gaiters are not permitted. Just forward.
This is Jeannie. Can I ask what's currently in the handbook?
As far as
Masks, students must comply with the student handbook?
I think that's in reference to the dress code, meaning that they can't have, vulgar language, they can't have gross political references or that kind of thing.
Thank you for clarifying that, Carla.
Sure.
Okay,
so
Charlie, you'll come up with some language.
Yes, I can, and then send a copy along.
Okay, great.
To everybody. The other section, if everybody's okay with that, the other section we wanted to look at was, let's see, down a couple more paragraphs. So there was originally 4 bullet points in the document, specifying times when face coverings could be removed. That was during mask breaks while eating or drinking. Those are still on there. The ones that were removed are during PE classes and while outside. And we're hoping to get those last 2 bullet points put back into the policy so that kids can take them off during PE classes while outside, and then really specify that that's when ample social distancing is possible. So not anytime they're outside, of course. If they're in outside classes, they're still sitting in desks, they're wearing their masks. And I'll say that everyone that I've seen in the building, the kids have been so compliant and excellent with their masks. So I don't foresee that being a problem. They've been really great. But the state mandate really talks about wearing masks outside only if social distancing isn't possible. And it feels like during this great weather, we should really have kids. We have ample space on our outside grounds. I feel like we should really give them a time to have some fresh air if they're really able to spread out.
Great. Okay, is there any questions of anybody? Abby?
I don't have a question, but I have a language suggestion for this,
Okay.
I guess, which would kind of combine both into one bullet point, which would be an exception would be during PE classes outdoors, social distancing can be maintained or something.
Okay, so combine the last 2 together, basically.
Yeah, I think so, because we were worried with the outside. I'm chair of the policy subcommittee, and we were concerned with the saying it's okay to take your mask off when you're outside, but if you are on school property, you need to keep your mask on. So our thinking had been that scheduled mask breaks, that's the staff is deciding what that actually means, if that recess, lunch, if that is PE outdoors, and just gave it a little more clarity. But adding that back in that way, I think could work.
Yeah, I think having those details just does give it some more clarity. I think we don't want anyone thinking that as soon as you step outside, you can take a mask off, of course, because they're, waiting for buses and sitting in classes. But I think, yeah, if we put the clarification, I think that would be a lot nicer for everyone.
Does anyone have any questions of Carla or of Ruth? Okay, moving on.
Okay, so I'll draft that language and send that to everybody, okay?
Great, thanks an awful lot.
Thank you.
Transportation Memorandum of Understanding. I would imagine probably that's why Tanya is on board.
It is. So
Okay.
you guys have a document in front of you for the transportation MOU, and it pretty much reads exactly as the one did in the spring. There's only a couple small changes in there that surround the timing of when it's good through and so forth. So essentially, we're continuing our 78% pay for the buses that are not in use. that basically pays for the overhead and for the actual buses that they are required to have to be ready for us for transportation. And then the buses that we're actually using, we're paying at 100%, obviously. And if there are times later in the year where we end up going remote for a period of time, then this would obviously revert back to the 78% for whatever buses we were not using. I was going to just share my screen real quick with you just to give you an idea of what this really works out to be for us. We'll be paying 78% for the 10 days that the school year was shortened by the state, as well as the 15 days that we're currently in remote with just special populations. We're only running 5 bus routes during that time. So I'm just going to share with you a quick calculation just so you guys can kind of understand how this affects us and the savings that we are going to get just from that period of time. So, and this is what I set to the bus company so that they could send us an invoice for us to pay. And we have actually put that on a special warrant for Pat to sign, because typically we pay our first installment to the bus company in September. We pay 10 monthly installments. But because this MOU wasn't voted on or agreed upon, and we didn't even have bus routes at our last meeting, we did not have that to be paid. So anyways, down here, you can see the discounted rate for all 11 buses that we're contracted for the full 10 days. We're only paying the 78% per day for that. And then the 6 buses we're not using, the 6 buses that we're not using for the first 15 days, the 3 weeks that we're in remote with just special populations, that's what that's for. So as you can see, I've just made notes next to it. We will be paying the full rate for 5 buses we're currently using for the full 170-day school year, because we anticipate obviously continuing to use them. And then based on our survey responses thus far and the original survey responses, we've analyzed those, and we anticipate needing to use all 11 buses that we're contracted for through the remainder of the school year, even in the hybrid model, due to capacity issues as well as geographic issues in some of our towns with our smaller buses and so forth. So that's what that looks like for us. The total cost of our contract, if we do end up using all 11 buses the rest of the school year, is $779,000 versus the $797,000, which was our full contract. So the savings just in those few days with fewer buses and the school year being shortened is about $17,000. That's going to help us cover some additional costs from the bus company for the sanitation and PPE that we're required to provide for the transportation of our children. So that's what that breaks out to, just so you guys know what this MOU means for the school districts as far as savings. And then of course, if we weren't to use all 11 buses, then that would be updated accordingly if we didn't need all 11 buses when we go to the hybrid model.
Tanya, how much of the PPE and sanitation are we having to pay, or how much?
The disinfectant that's being used on the buses and the machines that we provided through the grant, as well as the PP, like gloves and masks and that kind of thing for the buses, because it's above and beyond what the bus contract obligates them to pay for. And we are also providing masks for our students, which we discussed back probably a few meetings ago. So there'll be specific masks, regular size and child size, available for students as they get on the bus if they don't have them, because it's no different than us giving it to them at the front door versus on the bus. And obviously they're required to have it when they get on the bus. So we're providing that as well. And again, multiple conversations, meetings, et cetera, myself and her, that have brought us to this. If we were paying for staff to be sitting there working 5 days a week while the buses weren't being used, we would only have a 7% discount. So we've agreed to the 78% discount because they won't be hiring those additional bus drivers back off of unemployment until this 3-week remote period is over.
Okay. I think that answers my question. I'm not sure.
And what we were paying for the whole year. So if they incur any additional cost outside of what we've agreed to pay for, then we're not on the hook for that.
Okay,
I know.
okay. This is a new and different type of the happenings, I guess. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Ann here taking notes. I just would like some clarification. So it sounds like the additional cost of sanitation efforts have been paid for outside of the contract through grants. Am I correct in understanding that?
So we agreed to fund the actual nozzle fog system that's installed in the buses that are used for our district through the CARES grant. And then the actual cleaning supplies that will be used on our buses specifically is being allocated basically by district and by bus. So it's only for our district. We're not paying for anybody else's stuff or being allocated. It's specific to our buses.
Right, but that's outside. I'm trying to clarify, that's outside of the contract.
Correct. We're contracted for the busing itself.
Right. And then, so far we're pretty well covered, but if there are additional costs, we'll have to figure out how to pay for them outside of the contract and the contract MOU, correct?
Correct. And that's, we've got an invoice that we paid for the PPE and the cleaning supplies that's on, that they've invoiced us for.
Okay.
That's outside the contract.
Thank you.
And covered with the savings that we have. And
yep, that's good. I just trying to get, that's all.
okay. You can feel free to email me or call me if you need further details too later.
Thank you. Are there any more questions of Tanya? Okay. Is there anything else that is supposed to come before us tonight? Or have we gone through it in 20 minutes?
Do we have to vote on that MOU?
I think you have to vote on the MOU.
Okay.
You guys do have to take a vote on that, and Pat will need you to sign that when you sign the warrant.
Okay. Yep, I can do that.
Yep, it requires John's signature and yours, and then I will send it over to Pam for her signature to make it whole.
All right, that works great.
Thanks.
Would someone care to make a motion to that?
I could make that motion to accept the memorandum, the letter of commitment between the Pioneer Valley Regional School District and FM Kuzmeskis as presented at the meeting tonight. This is Jess.
Right. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Abby.
Thank you, Abby. And then I will take a vote. I see Jim first.
Yes.
Abby?
Abby Pratt, yes.
Karen?
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Jess?
Jessica Marshall, yes.
Jeannie?
Jeannie Milton, yes.
David?
Yes.
Seth?
Seth Kratz, yes.
Right, that motion passes.
Is
Oh,
Kristen
wait,
still
I
here?
didn't vote.
Oh, I didn't see Kristen's K up there. Sorry about that. Kristen?
Kristen, yes.
Thank you. So now I see the motion passes. Is there any other business, John, that needs to come before us tonight?
Sorry, no, there's no other business that I have.
Can you update us on how the first day of school or first 2 days of school went?
Yeah, I think overall it went very well. Obviously, there were a few glitches along the way, but our teachers and staff are doing an amazing job in keeping it all together. And it was really nice to see the students back and how the teachers welcomed them back into the buildings. And I heard, I visited obviously all the buildings and been to all the schools on these days. And I'm hearing a lot of it's so nice to be back at school. We're so happy to see our teachers again. So really nice comments like that from these students. And so it feels good to be back, even though things are not quite normal. It's nice to get started, and cannot say enough about our teachers and our support staff, our custodians, our cafeteria staff, even the admin for keeping it all together. Our central office staff have been amazing through this whole process. So I'm really proud of our district. I know the newspaper was taking some photos today at Pioneer, so they should be in the paper soon, but very happy with the start of the year and that we're underway. So I think we're all kind of glad to be underway and back. So students are very happy.
I see Claire smiling from ear to ear, so she's happy too, I can tell.
It's just been so nice to be back. It really has. I mean, it's been almost 6 months. It's been nice to be with the kids, even though it's remote, and they're ready to be back. And it was just, I had a really great 2 days. I really did. It was just great to see them, to reconnect with them. It's been nice. I'm happy to be back. I really am.
Renee, I see you and right there too. Things been good with you also?
Yeah, it's where we're supposed to be and what we long to do. So our lights are shining bright, seeing the kids smiling with their eyes, even if we can't see their mouths all the time. So it feels good. It's exhausting. We won't pretend it's not. That's true for everyone. We're all doing this on fumes, but I think that we're gathering energy from one another because we're together again. So it feels good.
We're all creating new and different things that we haven't experienced before, so I can understand how tiring it must be. So, all right.
Ryan here. How's Ryan? Ryan, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think overall, this past 2 days have gone pretty good. Like you said, I thought all the teachers came really well prepared, and it's nice to be back. So.
Good. And you're a senior, so that's more exciting.
I'm a junior.
Oh, you're a junior.
But
well, you're still exciting.
Yeah.
To look forward to. All right. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn if someone would be so kind.
So moved. Jeannie.
All right, and a second.
Jess.
All right. Kristen.
Yes.
All right, Jim.
Yeah.
Abby.
Abby, yes.
Karen.
Karen, yes.
Jess.
Jess, yes.
Seth.
Seth, yes.
Jeannie, yes.
And David.
Yes.
So we'll adjourn for a little while and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Is it,
Oh,
is
it is
Tuesday or Monday?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday at 7.
If anyone has anything they want to add to the agenda, email me ASAP and we'll get it on the agenda.
Tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Jim.
Bye.
Bye. Good
Pat,
night.
I just looked at my